Hello everyone and welcome to Lab 8. This lab we are working with Landsat imagery and we're going to use a software called Envy. Envy is not available for personal download through AppState, so we will be working through Udesk. You'll notice I already am there. I have this document pulled up in Udesk. And as usual, go ahead and in Udesk create the data folder. Hopefully everyone is aware of it by now, so I'm going to skip the walkthrough on how to do that because you all should be very familiar with the process. And then from there, go ahead and log into As You Learned and open the Google Doc, and we want to navigate to USGS Earth Explorer. Once you have your data folder ready, we are going to navigate to USGS Earth Explorer. So if you pull up that Google Doc and click on the first link in Part 1, Step 1, it will take you to USGS Earth Explorer, and you want to make sure that this page comes up. It'll likely center you around Sioux Falls area. And if you haven't already registered, go ahead and take the time to do so. It does take about a little bit of time to register, so make sure you have an account set up with the university before we continue. After you register, you might have to re-click the link in the lab document, and hopefully it'll bring up this page with you logged in. If you're not logged in, you will not be able to access the geocoding method we need, which is address and place. So once you're all registered and logged in, let's go ahead and select the drop-down menu for select the geocoding method and click address/place, and we want to search for Gatlinburg and click show. And then this will appear in Gatlinburg, TN, Tennessee. Once that shows, go ahead and click it and it will drop a pin for us in the Gatlinburg area. From here, we want to go over to Datasets and we want to come down to a menu called Landsat. You can expand that. And then we also, again, want to expand Landsat 1, Collection 1, and then at the bottom, Landsat Collection 1, Level 1. And it should look like this. And we want to go ahead and select this first one, Landsat 8, with the OTI TIRS C1 Level 1. And from here, we can go ahead and click OK. And now we can scroll down and go ahead and click results. And you'll notice how many results come up, about 403. We want to refine that a little bit because that is a lot for what we want to select from. So now we want to refine our search results. So to do this, scroll back up to the top and click on search criteria. We specifically are wanting to examine images taken from the time range September 1st, 2017 to October 1st, 2017. This is after Tennessee had experienced a series of wildfires in 2016. So we want our results to reflect that because we want to see healthy vegetation and make sure we're not looking at wildfires. So in this date range, you can either type it in 09, 01, 2017, or you can come over to the calendar icon and click October 2017. Either way, whatever you think is going to be faster, and then you can go ahead and click results. And as you'll notice, very few results show up. This is exactly what we're looking for. It should display 4. So from these 4, we want the bottom one that was taken on September 3rd, 2017. It will be path 19, row 35. Make sure that it is not the other one with the same path. The date will be the easiest way to decipher it. The titles are different, but it's easier to just look at the date difference. To show where our image is actually on the map, you can click this footprint and it will highlight the geographic area. And if it's not showing up at first, USGS can take a while, so just be patient. You can also click this show browse overlay, and this shows the actual image we'll be working with. After that, you can go ahead and click on View Metadata, and this will give you various information. You want to make note of this. It'll come up later in the lab, and you also want to make note of the cloud cover. So this is about 24%. Usually we want less than about 7, but this will be okay for now. And then from here, you want to click download options. It looks like the little arrow pointing at the hard drive, and you want to select this last one to download. And it will take a little bit of time, so just be patient, especially through Udesk. It can take even longer. It shouldn't take more than about 20 minutes at absolutely most. And if it's just taking forever, just let myself and Professor Anderson know. Once the folder is downloaded, it should look like this LC08 L1TP. In your downloads folder, we want to create a new folder, so we can come up here and click new folder, and we are going to name this image. From here, you want to click and drag this into image, and then open the folder. So this is a tar.gz file, and it has been double zipped, so we need to therefore unzip it twice. So to do that, select the folder or select the file and then come down to 7-zipped, and we'll click on extract here. It should take a little bit of time. So now that the extract is done, there will be 2 files. We just extracted this GZ file. Now we want to extract the tar file. So same process, 7-zip, extract here. And you can see that all the images have now loaded. From here, go ahead and explore some of the files. If you hover over them, you'll note the full name will come up, and this one says B6. So from the lab last week, you'll know that different bands have different brightness values and such. So explore a photo, and you can just get a feel for like what a different band will look like and different features that are highlighted. After you're done exploring, go back to your downloads, and we want to copy the entire image folder we just created and paste it into our lab 8 data folder. So navigate back to the Ustore Geoplanning class F drive, find your name and that lab 8 data folder we just made, and go ahead and paste the entire folder over. And it'll take a little bit to do this. So once you verify that that folder pasted into your data folder correctly, we are now going to actually open Envy. So if you come down to the search bar and type in Envy, the app you want is 5.5.3. If you want to make sure that you're opening the right one, you can just click on that Windows icon and go to the drop down, and we want the 64-bit. So Envy 5.5.3 64-bit. And it'll take a second to open. And once Envy is open, we want to come up to File and open some of those pictures we just copied over into our data folder. So make sure you are in the correct location, because this will, similar to ArcGIS, it's important that you pull from the right spot for folder connections. And so when we actually get back to the folder, go ahead and expand this file name section. If you just kind of hover over in between that and date modified, it'll expand it. And you can refer to the lab document for this too, but we want to select everything ending with a B except for band 8. So we want 1 through 7 and then 9 through 11. And to select multiple at once, hold down the control button while you do that. And these are the bands we want to select, and then go ahead and click open. And it might take a second to open here. So as you'll probably see, it might take quite some time for your pictures to load. Again, Udesk can be slow, especially Envy itself, and we just loaded a ton of layers, so it might take a while. Just be very patient with it, and it will load, so don't try like clicking other stuff. That'll just kind of mess it up a little bit. Just give it a moment. But once everything is loaded, you'll see it all in the layer manager. And if you want to change which band you're actually seeing, you can deselect them. So go ahead and click through and just see what the different bands look like in each layer. And then once you do that, you can zoom in and out. This kind of box around the magnifying glass is zoomed to full extent. That's what I have it on right now. And so after that, we want to actually remove all layers. So what we want to do is click on this view, select it, and then we're going to right click and go to remove all layers. And you'll notice they disappear. So while we just removed all the layers from the layer manager, they're still in our file and they're still in the data manager. So we can click on the data manager right here. It looks like a little clipboard next to the open file. And you'll see that all the bands are still located. So you can, are still loaded. So you can either minimize or close this because it's an easy click away. And then we're going to come over to the toolbox over here on the right side and click on the search menu. And we are going to type in build, or we're going to type in layer stack and build layer stack will come up. So yes, and that should load like that. Again, you can see Usgs is kind of fidgety, and we'll double click this and the layer stack will open. Once the build layer stack appears for you, we are going to come up to this browse, this three dot icon over here, and you'll see the data we loaded earlier. So go ahead and just verify that it is bands 1 through 7 and then 9 through 11. And what we want to do is select all these bands. So you can do this using, if you select the top one and then hold down the shift key, it should select all of them for you. If not, you can just hold control and individually click. And then after you have them all selected, just make sure they are all selected, and then you can press OK. And now in the build layer stack window, we need to reorder our bands, create a grid, and then export the raster. Now we want to reorder the bands sequentially in this input raster. So go ahead and expand your window. It's going to make this process a little bit easier just to see the band names. And you can click and drag band 1 to the top and then do the same for the rest of the bands. So it should be in descending order, and go ahead and do that. It should start with B1 and end with B11. Once those are in order, underneath this grid definition, we want to come over and select from Dataset. This is import from Dataset. And we're just going to select one of the bands. I'm going to go ahead and just select band 1. And you'll notice this auto-populates. We want to change this, make sure the extent's in meters, and we want to change this to the coordinates for Gatlinburg. So refer to the lab document for what those are, and I'm going to enter them in. And so when I come back, those will be the correct coordinates. So these are the correct coordinates here. And again, refer to the lab document and make sure that those are accurate. And we're going to come scroll down to the bottom and select file. Make sure that that is selected. Also make sure that the display result is selected. But before we click OK, we're going to come up to browse and make sure this is being saved in our lab 8 data folder. And we're going to name it Gatlinburg subset. And I already have a couple of these. I'm going to name it 1 and then click save. And then again, make sure that display result is selected, and we'll click OK. And then this is going to take a second to load. So similar to the other images in the layer manager, we want to go ahead and select Gatlinburg subset once it loads and come down and click on remove. And then again, it will be in the data manager. So again, we want to come up to the data manager and we want to actually remove all the LC08 files. So this will be a matter of holding control and clicking again. And as long as you hold control, you can come over and scroll down to click. I know it can be tough sometimes just using like a scroll or using a laptop, the mouse pad. And with everything selected, you want to make sure that that Gatlinburg subset is not, and then we're going to right click and hit close files. And so if you do this one at a time, there's an option for close all files. Do not select close all files, and only your Gatlinburg subset should be. And again, you can close out or minimize the data manager, and then up in the views tab, we want to come over and select 2 by 2 views, and this will allow us to display 4 images at once. From here, you want to select this top left view. You'll know which one is selected based on this teal box outline, and this is corresponding with this view, so whatever layers we add will be underneath this first view. Now we want to open the data manager again, and we want to do a standard false color composite, which is bands 5, 4, and 3 from the Gatlinburg subset. So once you open the data manager, be careful with your clicks here because they are kind of final. So you want to press, you want to make sure that your red band is, or your band 5 is going to get the red color gun. Band 4 is going to be your green color gun, and band 3 will be your blue color gun. If you mess up, you can right click and do reset band selection. And make sure this box is not checked. This will create another view, and we want this to load in the view we have selected. So go ahead and click load data, and you'll notice the color composite loads. From here, you want to click on zoom to full extent. Next, we want to select this top right view, and you'll notice it switches the window we are working in. And again, the same thing from the data manager. We are going to load a different color composite. This one will be a true color composite, which is bands 4, 3, 2. So band 4 will be red, band 3 will be green, and band 2 will be blue. Again, make sure this is not selected. Click load data, and you'll see immediately that this looks like a more natural picture of the Earth, and that I'll go ahead and zoom to your full extent from there as well. After you finish the true color composite on the bottom 2, you are going to create your own combinations. So it's the same process through the data manager, and you want to be thoughtful about your band selections here because you want to try to highlight the burn scar in the lower left corner of the image. So there is a link in the Lab 8 document that will take you to an S3 page about band combinations. So read through that and decide which ones will work best for you. And then when you're ready to save, saving in Envy is a little less intuitive than it seems. So you want to come down here and do not select this save as. We are going to go to views and layers and click save. And you can name this your username, Lab 8. It's probably easiest to save it in your data folder in Udesk and Lab 8 and make sure that pathway is correct. And then you can go ahead and press save. And after you save, if you need to come back to this file, be sure that you open Envy first. It's not, you can't really open it from the file manager. So open Envy first, and then you can come down to open and navigate back to our pathway that you saved it in. And after you are done with all that, just remember to submit an PDF. And as always, reach out to myself or Professor Anderson if you have any questions.